A small-sized Bankai with an ordinary blade. How could this be a Bankai? Perhaps Byakuya's words when Ichigo first activated the Bankai came back to the minds of many fans when the truth about Ichigo's powers was finally revealed. That he wasn't actually fighting with his true Zanpakuto and that his power had been suppressed, which leads us to wonder, what exactly did we see in his fight against Byakuya? Was that really a Bankai or was it something else entirely? That's why guys, in this video we're going to discuss the true nature of Ichigo's first Bankai by going back to what was revealed in the manga and sharing some of the most interesting theories about it, and of course giving you my own personal take on that Bankai. And we can't begin guys without going back to that legendary moment, the moment Ichigo released his Bankai for the very first time. Naturally, this epic event was preceded by several other shocking feats Ichigo accomplished in the Soul Society, like stopping the Sokyoku and saving Rokia, and he was just moments away from doing something Byakuya considered absolutely impossible, releasing a Bankai. At that time, Byakuya's words about the Bankai made it sound like a nearly unattainable power, something that required immense power and effort and years of training, and even then not everyone could do it. Even noble-born souls born with higher spiritual energy couldn't just obtain a Bankai easily. So from the point of view of Byakuya, without knowing Ichigo's background, a boy who wasn't a real Shinigami, not of noble blood, and who managed to learn Bankai in such short time, that was truly shocking. And the shock only intensified when Byakuya saw the Bankai. Ichigo's form didn't change dramatically, his clothes simply shifted, and his sword became thinner, looking more like an ordinary katana with a manji-shaped hilt. So its appearance made Byakuya initially think that it wasn't strong at all, until Ichigo's blade was suddenly at his throat. Everything changed after that. And after several clashes, Byakuya concluded that Ichigo's Bankai works by condensing all of his powers into that small form, allowing him to fight at full strength and with incredible speed. And that's exactly what we saw. His Bankai allowed him to move with immense speed and dodge Shinbon with scale and block its attacks. And that's not all. Another key feature of Ichigo's Bankai was the Getsuga Tensho technique. Back then it was Ichigo's only technique, whether in Shikai or Bankai, and Byakuya was the first captain to see it and hear its name. Ichigo used it before releasing his Bankai, and in the anime it was blue-white, though its real color is yellow. And Ichigo explained that Zangetsu consumes his spiritual energy during the swing, focuses it intensely, and fires it from the tip of his blade, in the form of a spiritual blast. And the process is the same both in Shikai and Bankai. The difference lies in the color and of course the amount of power. In Shikai it's yellow and in Bankai it's black. So Ichigo's first Bankai guys can be summarized as a Bankai that manifests on Ichigo's body, giving him greater speed and enhancing the cutting power of his blade and the intensity of his Getsuga Tensho. However, when the truth of Ichigo's power was finally revealed in the Quincy arc, everything changed. It was revealed that the old man Zangetsu was actually Ichigo's Quincy power, taking the form of Yamamoto as he was a thousand years ago. And the old man said he was Yamamoto and yet was not, and admitted he never wanted Ichigo to become a Shinigami. Had Ichigo continued down that path, the old man said he would have killed him. That's why he made himself the center of Ichigo's power, to suppress the Shinigami power as much as possible. So the power Ichigo fought with during all that time was simply the power the old man Zangetsu couldn't suppress. But over time, as Zangetsu witnessed Ichigo's determination to walk the path of the Shinigami, he chose to support him and finally gave him his true Zanpakuto. Another key detail guys we never knew was that Ichigo never actually had an Asauchi from Nimai. Instead, White was acting as the container for Ichigo's Shinigami power and was the one who merged with it and became his Zanpakuto. That's why when Nimai finally gave Ichigo an Asauchi, it was only then that he truly obtained his real Zanpakuto. So with all this new information, many fans began to question if Ichigo wasn't wielding a real Zanpakuto from the beginning. Then what exactly was that Bankai he used? Was it truly a Bankai or was it something else? With no official answers guys, many theories emerged and I'll share with you two of the most interesting that I find. The first theory suggests that Ichigo's Bankai during Byakuya's fight wasn't a real Bankai, since Ichigo wasn't using his true Zanpakuto and the old man Zangetsu had been suppressing his Shinigami powers. Therefore that Bankai was simply the manifestation of Ichigo's Quincy power, and they point to its appearance as evidence. The mostly black look resembles the old man's outfit. The second theory, which I personally think it's brilliant, proposes that Ichigo's Bankai was in fact a Shinigami Bankai based on his Shinigami power, but with a twist. Since the old man Zangetsu didn't want Ichigo to become a Shinigami, he gave him a fake Bankai, a Bankai whose mechanism was based on the first version of Zankan-no-Tachi, the one Yamamoto used 1,000 years ago. And supporters of this theory guys base it on several details, including this quote from the fake Yhwach in the manga. When Yamamoto released his Bankai and Haschfeld was shocked by its appearance, Yhwach said it shouldn't be underestimated. Its ability lies in sealing all the flames into the blade, and with a single swing, a massive amount of firepower is unleashed. Even the sword's appearance remains simple and unchanged, and this leads some fans to believe that the mechanism behind Zankan-no-Tachi was quite similar to Ichigo's Bankai, especially regarding the way Getsuga Tensho is launched. And here is guys what I'll share with you my personal opinion about the examples that were mentioned. Starting with the question of whether Ichigo's first Bankai was merely Quincy power. I honestly think that's not possible for several reasons. First of all, the old man Zangetsu clearly stated that the power Ichigo had been using throughout the story was actually his Shinigami powers, the one he couldn't suppress, and this power that allowed him to awaken his Shinigami powers for the first time. On the top of that, the old man was simply acting as limiter, suppressing Ichigo's Shinigami power. His Quincy powers hadn't even awakened yet. What the old man was doing was using his abilities as a being to heal Ichigo at times or teleport him, like during the fight against Zaraki. For the second idea, although I like it and I find it interesting, I don't think it actually happened. Not because the old man lacked Yhwach's memories and therefore couldn't see the real Bankai of Zankan-no-Tachi. On the opposite, I do think and I believe that the old man might actually have some of Yhwach's memories and know some of his secrets, but just not this point, guys. Because fundamentally, guys, the old man didn't have to rely on how Yamamoto's Bankai works just because he didn't want Ichigo to become a Shinigami and thus teach him a fake technique. No, the old man went even further than that. He gave Ichigo a fake Zanpakuto and suppressed his power. So teaching him Getsuga Tensho wouldn't have made a difference anyway, because Ichigo didn't have access to his real power, nor did he have a true Zanpakuto. Besides guys, the Getsuga Tensho technique itself works nearly the same way as Ichigo's father Isshin's, gathering Ryatsu and firing it from the blade. The difference is that Isshin uses fire with it. So thirdly guys, even after Ichigo discovered his true power and obtained his Zanpakuto, the real one, he still used the same method for Getsuga Tensho, gathering Ryatsu and releasing it through the sword. The only difference was in the level and scale of the output. Of course, new variations of the technique appeared too, like combining two blades for forming new Getsuga Tensho, or merging it with the Grand Ray Zero. That's why guys, I believe that Ichigo's first Bankai was a mini version, where he was only using a small portion of his powers, and also wasn't fighting with a complete Zanpakuto, or rather his Zanpakuto wasn't in the correct form, where it includes Nasauchi, meaning he was fighting with just one technique and a limited power level. So the real Bankai would definitely have Getsuga Tensho, but with great strength and with access to more advanced techniques. So guys, what do you think about what I have said about the theories that you have heard and my own take? Give me guys your opinions in the comments and see you in my next video.